the latest military news update. This is AFP Community News, hosted by Rofh Suzon every 12 noon, Mondays to Fridays. Only here on DWDD Armed Forces Radio. One AFP for a stronger Philippines.
Government marks milestone with over 5,400 projects and 1,690 rebels reintegrated. 37 IB neutralizes 3 rebels as hero soldier sacrifices life in Sultan-Kudarat clash. Philippines malls raising alert level in Israel and Iran amid ongoing tensions. PNP chief to lead search for missing Sambuneros.
Hello to everyone, especially to our troops at Camp Emilio Ginaldo in Quezon City. Today is Friday, June 20, and this is AFP Committee News, your source for the updates on the armed forces and other developments across the country. I am Rofh Suzon-Abay, here to bring you today's stories.
DWDD Armed Forces News.
Now for the brief overview of our news, the National Task Force on Local Communist Armed Conflict announced that the government's peace and development efforts are yielding results, with 5,455 completed barangay infrastructure projects and 1,690 former rebels reintegrated into civilian life. These gains, achieved under the Barangay Development Program and the Enhanced Comprehensive Local Integration Program, reflect a 90.2% project completion rate and sustained community support. And DFLCAG Executive Director Undersecretary Ernesto Torres Jr. called it a double victory, noting that former conflict zones now have essential services like roads, schools, and water systems, while former rebels are receiving housing, training, and reintegration aid. Regard to this, the agency vowed to finish the remaining projects and continue empowering conflict-affected communities.
DWDD Armed Forces News.
3 communist insurgents were neutralized while 1 soldier sacrificed his life in a fierce encounter between government forces and rebels in Barangay Datu Ituandong, Calamansig, Sultan Kudarat yesterday. According to Lieutenant Colonel Christopherson Capuyan, the commander of the 37th Infantry Battalion, troops were conducting military operations when they clashed with armed rebels led by Eusebio Cranzo, alias Agawo Briggs. The firefight lasted over an hour and resulted in the recovery of 3 M16 rifles, ammunition, and personal belongings. Brigadier General Michael Santos, the commander of the 603rd Infantry Brigade, ordered intensified pursuit operations and vowed to maintain peace in the area. On the other hand, the Army also extended condolences to the family of the fallen soldier and committed to a dignified burial for the slain rebels.
Armed Forces Radio.
On the other line, let us hear more from Jai about 63rd IB facilitates the burial of a slain member of the CTG in Borongan City, Eastern Samar.
Yes, Rofh, the 63rd Infantry Battalion facilitated a proper and decent burial of a slain member of the communist terrorist group in Barangay Pinanagan, Borongan City, Eastern Samar. It can be recalled that the CTG member was killed during an armed encounter last June 15, 2025. The burial assistance was conducted in coordination with the city government of Borongan, which also extended logistical and financial support to the bereaved family. Meanwhile, 63rd IB continues to call on CTG remnants to abandon the senseless armed struggle and avail of the government's enhanced comprehensive local integration program. This is Jai reporting for AFP Community News, one AFP for a stronger Philippines.
Thank you, Jai.
DWDD Armed Forces News.
Government troops from the 93rd Infantry Battalion neutralized 2 New People's Army leaders and a rebel in a firefight in Barangay Cogon, Carigara, Leyte. Among those slain were Juanito Celiesa Jr., a top executive of the NPA's Island Committee levels, and Eugene Paclita, the leader of Squad 2. The military recovered firearms, ammunition, and subversive documents. Major General Adonis Ariel Orayo of the 8th Infantry Division condemned the NPA's continued recruitment and urged the remaining rebels to surrender and embrace peace.
DWDD Armed Forces News.
Authorities arrested a female New People's Army medical officer in Malimono, Surigao del Norte. Criminal Investigation and Detection Group Officer in Charge Brigadier General Lindo Soguilion said alias Jane faces 6 arrest warrants, including one of the crimes against humanity under RA 9851 and others for murder, arson, and frustrated murder. She was tagged as Caragas region's #1 most wanted person, allegedly served as the medic of the NPA's sub-regional Centro de Gravidad, and was involved in several 2022 attacks, including an ambush on soldiers and the torching of construction equipment over unpaid revolutionary taxes.
Armed Forces Radio.
And now from NOLCOM, let us hear some information from Joanne about NOLCOM participates in nationwide earthquake drill to strengthen disaster readiness.
The Northern Luzon Command Armed Forces of the Philippines actively took part in the second quarter nationwide simultaneous earthquake drill on June 19, 2025, reinforcing its commitment to the government's disaster preparedness initiatives. Military and civilian personnel at Camp Aquino executed critical safety measures, including duck, cover, and hold, proper evacuation procedures, and emergency response protocols led by the command's quick response team. Specialized units from the Philippine Army, including the 1st Installation Management Battalion, 522nd Engineer Construction Battalion, and the K9 Battalion demonstrated search, rescue, and retrieval operations, showcasing rapid coordination and life-saving capabilities essential in disaster response. Lieutenant General Farnil G. Buca, Philippine Air Force, Commander of NOLCOM, stressed the importance of readiness in protecting communities. Preparedness is key to saving lives, he said in his message. As a jointly engaged sustainment, maintain, and readiness-trained force, NOLCOM remains steadfast in its mission to foster disaster resilience and safeguard the people of Northern and Central Luzon. This is John Sagak reporting for AFP Community News, 1 AFP for Stronger Philippines.
Thank you, Juan from NOLCOM.
DWDD Armed Forces News.
A member of the Busayaf group was killed during a shootout with authorities in Barangay Sangali, Zamboanga City. Police were about to serve a warrant for illegal possession of firearms and ammunition when Nasser Haranain alias Gapur attempted to flee. He ran toward his pump boat but encountered Marine troops positioned as a blocking force. Haranain fired at the Marines, prompting them to retaliate and wound him. He was brought to the Zamboanga City Medical Center but was declared dead on arrival.
DWDD National News.
For our national news, the Philippine government has called on Filipinos in Israel and Iran to avail of the government's voluntary repatriation program. This came amid plans to raise crisis alert level 3 in both countries due to ongoing exchange of missile attacks. Department of Foreign Affairs Undersecretary Eduardo De Vega said that they are currently waiting for DFA Secretary Enrique Manalo to sign the approval to raise Alert Level 3 in Israel and Iran. Alert Level 3 will activate the country's voluntary repatriation program with the full expenses shouldered by the government.
Armed Forces Radio.
More updates from Kath about Philippine Air Force conducts 2-day briefing for newly commissioned second lieutenants.
Yes, Rofh, good noon. The Philippine Air Force, through the Office of the Assistant Chief of Air Staff for Personnel A1, recently conducted a 2-day introductory briefing of 58 newly commissioned second lieutenants of PMA Siklablaya Class 2025 at Colonel Jesus Villamor Air Base, Pasay City. Among the topic discussed were uniform and grooming standards, the PAF promotion system, social media conduct, mental health awareness, financial literacy, and the military justice system. The initiative was aimed to equip the next generation of officers with critical knowledge as well as the leadership and management skills that are necessary to thrive in today's complex and evolving military environment. The Philippine Air Force reaffirmed its commitment to develop a well-rounded, mission-ready officers who uphold the core values of integrity, service, and excellence. This is Kat reporting to AFP Community News, 1 AFP for a stronger Philippines.
Thank you, Kath.
DWDD National News.
The Department of Migrant Works announced a whole-of-government response to aid the overseas Filipino workers caught in escalating tensions in the Middle East. DMW Secretary Hans Leo Kakdak explained the new National Reintegration Network, or NRN. This is a comprehensive reintegration support to OFWs who have availed themselves of the government's voluntary repatriation program. They assured the OFWs that DMW and concerned government agencies will be there to provide all the necessary assistance and support to the OFWs who want to come home for their safety and security.
DWDD National News.
Malacanang assured that the ongoing conflict between Israel and Iran would not affect the remittances of overseas Filipino workers to the Philippines. Citing a statement from the Department of Finance, Palace Press Officer Claire Castor said the impact of the conflict on OFW remittances was limited for now. However, Castro added that an escalation that could include the rest of the Middle East will have a substantial effect on overall remittances. She also said the tensions could also affect household consumption and economic growth prospects.
Armed Forces Radio.
And more updates from Leonor, Philippine Navy's senior enlisted leaders engaged with Philippine Army's Training and Doctrine Command.
The senior enlisted leaders of the Philippine Fleet, headed by Command Master Chief Petty Officer Samuel Arnaldo, Philippine Navy, made a meaningful visit to the Training and Doctrine Command at Camp O'Donnell in Capas, Tarlac. The visit began with a courtesy call that opened up valuable discussions on key areas such as training systems, doctrine development, and the sharing of best practices. PF SEALs also interacted with the students of SMC Class 16-25 students. They also participated in a tree planting activity for environmental awareness and joined a fan shoot. This visit reflects the strong partnership between the Philippine Navy and TRADOC in developing a more professional, unified, and capable armed forces of the Philippines. This is Leonor Tanap reporting for AFP Community News, 1 AFP for Stronger Philippines.
Thank you, Leonor.
DWDD National News.
President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. is in Osaka, Japan to attend the 2025 World Expo. Palace Press Officer Claire Castro said the president is expected to promote Philippine tourism. Aside from attending the expo, Marcos would also meet with businessmen and the Filipino community. The palace official said the president will likely be back in the country over the weekend.
DWDD National News.
Relatedly, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. designated Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin, Agrarian Reform Secretary Conrado Estrella, the Third and Education Secretary Sonny Angara as the country's caretakers. The president is in Japan to attend the 2025 World Expo in Osaka. He was personally invited by Japanese Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba last April. Palace Press Officer Claire Castro said it is the president's prerogative whose officials he would assign as government's caretakers.
Armed Forces Radio.
And now from Solcom, let us hear from Jess about Philippine Army and civic groups unite for coastal reforestation in Sorsogon.
Yes, Rofh, the 22nd Infantry Valor Battalion, wholeheartedly participated in a tree planting activity held on June 15, 2025 at Sitio Balagting, Barangay Hobo, Magallanes, Sorsogon, as part of the ongoing efforts to protect and preserve the environment. The initiative was spearheaded by the Mount Bulusan Eagles Club of Bicol, Sorsogon Region 1, in partnership with the Sorsogon South Luzon Eagles Club of Bicol Region 2, and in collaboration with the 22nd Infantry Valor Battalion. Through the collective efforts of participating groups, mangrove seedlings were successfully planted along coastal areas of Sitio Balagting.
This project aims to strengthen environmental conservation efforts, particularly in vulnerable coastal zones, vital to biodiversity and natural protection against flooding and soil erosion. The 22IB remains committed to supporting environmental initiatives and activities that foster stronger ties between the government and local communities in the region. This is Jess from Solcom reporting for AFP Community News, one AFP for a stronger Philippines.
Thank you, Jess from Solcom.
DWDD National News.
For other national news, the Department of Migrant Workers called for industry support to strengthen seafarer protection and welfare. The MW Assistant Secretary for Sea-Based Overseas Filipino Worker Concerns, Jerome Pampolina, said the Filipino seafarers are confronted with numerous challenges at sea. These include shipboard harassment, piracy, accidents, geopolitical tensions, criminalization, and abduction by armed militants. He added that seafarers should be protected as they connect the world, support millions of Filipino families, and keep the economy afloat, especially at the height of the pandemic through their remittances.
DWDD National News.
Philippine National Police Chief General Nicolas Torre III is willing to lead search operations to locate the remains of 34 sabongeros who are believed buried in Taal Lake in Batangas. PNP spokesperson Brigadier General Jean Fajardo said Torre is willing to go to the area and find the exact spot that the suspect was saying. The case of the missing sabongeros is one of the cases that Torre investigated when he was chief of the Criminal Investigation and Detection Group. On Tuesday night, the suspect, identified as alias Totoy, claimed the victims were strangled to death with a wire before they were dumped into the lake.
Armed Forces Radio.
Let us hear more from Eljoy of 1st Year G about 5th ID equips over 500 troops with trauma management skills.
Yes, Rofh, the two-day trauma risk management training commenced at the 5th Infantry Division Covered Court, bringing together over 500 personnel from various units. The training aimed to strengthen the psychological readiness and resilience of soldiers, particularly those exposed to high-stress situations and combat-related trauma. The activity was focused on building the capacity of selected troops to recognize early signs of stress and psychological strain among their peers. This initiative reinforces the division's efforts to build a culture of mental health awareness and support, ensuring that every soldier is prepared to face the demands of service not only with strength but also with stability of mind. This is Meljo Nesho Arok reporting for AFP Community News, one AFP for stronger Philippines.
Thank you, Meljoy of 1st Year G.
DWDD National News.
Health Secretary Ted Herbosa said President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. has ordered the Department of Health to strengthen chronic kidney disease prevention efforts nationwide. Herbosa said the directive came after the chief executive visited a dialysis center and spoke with a young patient undergoing treatment. According to Herbosa, the main causes of CKD in the country are lifestyle-related illness such as diabetes and hypertension. The DOH chief also stressed the need for lifestyle change, particularly among the children.
DWDD National News.
President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. retained 6 government heads amid the ongoing cabinet revamp. Palace Press Officer Claire Castro said the President retained Government Service Insurance System President and General Manager Jose Arnulfo Veloso, Land Bank of the Philippines President and Chief Executive Officer Lynette Ortiz, and Development Bank of the Philippines President and CEO Michael De Jesus, National Irrigation Administration Administrator Eduardo Guillen, Philippine Charity Sweepstakes Office General Manager Melquiades Robles, and PhilHealth Acting President and CEO Edwin Mercado will also stay in position. Meanwhile, PBBM accepted the courtesy resignations of Presidential Legislative Liaison Office Secretary Mark Mendoza, Presidential Advisor of Military and Police Affairs Roman Felix, and PNOC Renewables Corporation Chairperson John Arenas.
Armed Forces Radio.
Some information from Bay about 1NFM kicks off Intercolor Sports Fest 2025.
Yes, Rofh, the Naval Forces Eastern Mindanao officially launched the 1NFEM Intercolor Sports Fest 2025 at Naval Station Felix Apolinario Parade Grounds, Panacan, Davao City. The kick-off ceremony was highlighted by the parade of contingents, the ceremonial lighting of the torch, and the official opening of the Sports Fest by the Commander NFEM, Commodore Constancio Arturo M. Reyes, Jr., Philippine Navy. The One Fem Sports Fest aims to strengthen bonds among personnel and cultivate a culture grounded in unity, discipline, and honor and service. This is Beatrice reporting for AFP Community News, 1 AFP for a stronger Philippines.
Thank you, Bea.
Armed Forces Radio.
From our report on the ground, let us hear more from Gina about 61st IB participates in second quarter PPOC meeting in Antique.
Rofh, in a continuing show of unity and commitment to peace and progress, the 61st Infantry Battalion joined the second quarter 2025 Provincial Peace and Order Council meeting at the provincial capital in San Jose de Buena Vista, Antique. The meeting gathered representatives from Provincial Health Office, PSWDO, PENRO, the Provincial Agriculture Office, PDRRMO, NCIP, PIA, Philippine Coast Guard Antique, Bureau of Fire Protection, BJMP, and Tactical Operations Group 6 of the Philippine Air Force. One of the highlights of the event was the awarding of the Enhanced Comprehensive Local Integration Program to a former rebel. The 61st IB reaffirmed its unwavering commitment to ensuring peace and sustainable development in the province of Antique. This is Gina reporting for AFP Community News, 1 AFP for Stronger Philippines.
Thank you, Gina.
DWDD National News.
The province of Bulacan reported 2 confirmed Mpox cases in San Jose del Monte City. Both patients contracted the clade second strain, a less severe variant of the Mpox virus. Health officials said the patients who have recovered from the disease are not related. Bulacan Governor Daniel Fernando ordered city and municipal mayors, as well as village chiefs, to prepare temporary treatment and monitoring facilities, check sanitation practices in private establishments, and launch awareness campaigns about Mpox.
DWDD Armed Forces News.
That concludes today's broadcast, and thank you for tuning in, especially to our audience on AFP Radio, the DWDD's Facebook page. Be sure to join and catch us again next week for more stories and updates, same time and same station. Once again, this is Rofh Suzon-Abay for AFP Community News, 1 AFP for Stronger Philippines.
Behold the latest military news update. This is AFP Community News, hosted by Rofh Suzon every 12 noon, Mondays to Fridays. Only here on DWDD Armed Forces Radio. 1 AFP for a stronger Philippines.
Ito ang DWDD 1134 kHz AM. Balita, impormasyon at musika. Ito ang DWDD AFP Radio. Boses ng Kawal Pilipino.
Kayo ay nakatutok sa DWDD AFP Radio. Kami po ay kasapi ng KBP, Kapisanan ng mga Broadcaster ng Pilipinas.